All right. What is up, YouTube? I'm here. I'm going to giving you guys a rundown on the Japanese Premium tournament that happened this past weekend. I'm going to do a nice little dig through of all of the decks and just kind of talk about them. Because I haven't done this on here. I haven't done an actual formal metagame review, and I'm actually in the mood to kind of do a lot of talking today. So there are a lot of builds across all planes of life. So if you're watching this, kick back and you might learn of an investment or something you want to make. This is actually Gize CEO OTT the deck. For those of you that don't know, fucking Stillwater plus Silent Bob, wherever the hell Silent Bob is, are grade 2, prevents, makes some sort of like broken loop that doesn't allow your opponent to do the thing. The best way to do that, climb a 30k summit so your opponent cannot effectively touch you. This deck is really cool because it's the anti-means to actually this. This right here is the end-all be-all. This is the kill Gumball. This is the deck that will fucking shit on your day. So what you're looking at is Bob here plus fucking Stillwater. Literally makes it so you can't guard. And then you use dear old Dear Dad over here. Good old Dear Dad says Soul Blast 2 grade 3s, check top 7, select 2 critical triggers from among them, put them on the top of your deck. I don't know why Bushiroad made this, and I'm still wondering that until the end of time. But one of the other things you're seeing is a lot of decks cutting their heals, just not caring. Cutting effect crits, those 15k guards are very, very crucial to a lot of these matchups. Actually, come to find out, the protect markers are one of the most insane things that they could have ever actually done for premium format. But a lot of people are asking for Bob to get banned over here. Yeah, I know it's Tom. But the interactions for this probably won't last long. This is one of the most degenerate decks to ever exist in the game. Another perfect example over here. As you see, literally the exact same thing. You're still seeing the same thing. A lot of builds were playing a higher amount of grade 3 count. Just as stride fodders. You don't have to play stride fodders at all. Doesn't really matter. You've also seen a little bit of a change between how they wanted to do their perfect shields. A lot of people are playing the draw triggers in some combination of these. Seeing the 2-2 split. Just kind of depends on the variance in which you want to do it. But this deck is, I can't stress it enough. This might be the best deck next to, you know, Quarrel. And moving on along. Darkness. Darkness has been here for some time. This deck continues to rear its ugly head, and the deck evolves. Remember, being able to use Bong Man to quad drive, deny your opponent a grade, it's fantastic, you know. And I'm actually kind of shocked to still see this deck showing and doing its thing. It's excellent. I love it. You know, if you were a dedicated Darkness player, congratulations, your deck is still very much alive. Your deck still does the same thing it's done, you just deny your opponent some sort of extensive damage. Still a pretty cheesy strategy. Shout out to Vince, though. Vince has been swapped out so many times as the go-to heal trigger. It's actually been pretty insane. The big hitter of the format has... I've seen this in Angie rotating back and forth. Quarrel's getting good because she's a 13k base. On top of that, well, you know, who doesn't fucking love a fat fucking rack in your face? It's the only reason why I'd play Quarrel. Bling this deck out and just sit there and cry myself to sleep. It's about how this deck works. Ability to draw, the ability to use Spisa to basically ruin your opponent's day, and you have a consistent ride chain. The only thing you're missing is just higher shield value, but pray that doesn't happen. I think the interesting thing is this deck can actually ruin OTT's day, because honestly, this deck gains so much advantage, it's insane. On the flip side of things, not being allowed to G-guard and all those other fun things, yeah, it really makes premium fun. Zonky. This is another one of those, wow, the deck is still here. Yeah, dominating your opponent is pretty damn good. The general evolution and builds, still pretty much about where it's been, honestly. Nothing's really changed with this. Just higher trigger value kind of ruins your day. Or if your opponent gets a defensive trigger early, you're not going to have a good time. But the deck is still doing what the deck does. I think that's one of the things people kind of forget. Premium format, the best decks that were in G-Era are still pretty much here. It's just there's a little bit more spicing on the cake. And this deck does get cool evolutions, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. There was one Viktor deck that showed up. It's Viktor. I don't think this deck is good. The column attack, the attack power that this deck grinds with, it's cute, but still, like, it's Viktor. I don't see anything too super exciting for this. Like, the deck just kind of loses to higher trigger value. Same thing it's always had. Oh, this was the other interesting... Okay, we're back on Nuba now. Things to note, or Boros. Some builds are just playing one of it. This build's playing 3 of it. Outside of that, I mean, this is just another standardized list, as I'm looking here. Alright, I can talk about Royal Paladin now. So, on Market Watch, I talked about how some of the Royal Paladin players have not been playing Barkle. And the reason for this is a lot of people are like, ooh, new triggers. Ooh, candy. Ooh, candy. I do know that this Flogel does have Flogel in its name, but you really don't want to kick one of these out and play a Lou. It just, you kind of take away from, I guess, the grind and the strategy of this. But Wingle does get you the guaranteed search. This particular builder is playing 4 offered early, so getting the Blaster Blade into the soul is of the utmost of crucial. But it is just kind of all within the strategy. Also, do take note that he is playing 2 of the grade 2 Force 3 right on the Alfred on top to get the additional Force marker. Just kind of the really cute things that you can do with this deck. Also, right here, playing the Draw Trigger PGs, which actually opens up room in the main deck now for more strategies. Which I actually starting to kind of really like the Draw Trigger Perfect Guards. This was an interesting change to the game. Outside of that, the G-Zone is looking very standard. There was another build. This build taking advantage of our dragon friend here. This is all he really cared about for the G-Zone. And this is where Pongal, where'd you go, buddy? Pongal's somewhere around here. Actually, I don't even think... There was one list that was playing Pongal that would just shove it into the soul. Go search for this. But this is another one of those perfect examples of evolving with the times. So, thank you, Royal Paladin. You've definitely made things interesting. Angie list from the event. I thought we were done here, Miss multi-attacking, but you know it's a sad day when Quarrel's doing better than Angie, when Angie was the one that was doing infinitely better before. Anybody else find that incredibly interesting? I believe that this is the end of things to talk about here, as we get into Grand Gallop. Now, Grand Gallop can actually climb the apex of numbers and push incredibly aggressively. And I've kind of seen this a lot with Grand Gallop over time here, is the deck is incredibly interesting at what it does. I just think the player that plays the deck, you have a hard time. And Laurel's still at 3. You're not totally fucked yet. I'm definitely sure that when we get new triggers for this deck, that will probably be replacing a lot of these things. So don't get discouraged when you're looking at DP and you're like, oh no, we're losing Laurel. Yes, you are, but you still have plenty of interesting things to replace it with. The other interesting deck was actually a Gize Grand Gallop deck. This deck is like super designed to be anti-meta because packing things like this in your standard lineup, draw triggers, crits. This is overall an interesting concept to me as a player. You know, there's a lot going on here. And then back to the deck we started with here. The very ever so interesting anti-meta Clearwater deck. Like I said, main thing you're going to here is you sick of your opponent playing the mirror? That's fine, just roll out Gize. You'll have no problem. This guy finished 5-1 across the teams. That's incredibly impressive for something that I kind of think looks like shit. But interesting, you know. Overall, I mean, like, I'm intrigued by how Premium is shaping up. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be. Standard is still very boring to me with it being 4 decks. You know, Kagero's supposed to be the best. You've got Riser in there just being the most aggressive. The redesign and structure is very interesting, but we're going to have to wait and see how it goes, because it leaves a lot to be said about the formats. So what do you guys think about all of these interesting decks, events, all the fun stuff? Please leave a comment down below. If you guys want more of this type of content, please feel free to knock on my door and tell me that. I'll see what I can do, guys. Alright guys, MCO40 peacing out. That's not all, card fighters. Please subscribe for more Cardfight Vanguard content. Please remember to check out MCO40 for Yu-Gi-Oh videos, and please check out MCOgames.com, my store, along with No Limit Gaming, NLGTCG.com for all of your guys' trading card game needs as well. Until next time, guys, remember to hit that subscribe button. Later.